Very much, Mr. Chairman, and I thank the witnesses for their testimony here today. My question has to do with subcontracting. The 36% goal for subcontract set in 2009 has continuously failed to be met. In fact, over the past several years, it has declined from 35.4% in fiscal year 2010 to 34% in fiscal year 2013. Mr. Chopkin, I'm concerned that the percentage of dollars subcontracted to small business has dropped by about 3% since 2010. I'm also concerned that by holding only senior executives accountable for prime contracting goals, we've sent the message that subcontracting perhaps isn't all that important. What are your thoughts on this issue?
Mr. Curbelo, thank you. Our view is subcontracting matters, and it's very important. It's a good business strategy for small businesses. We talked about that today, along with finding prime contracting opportunities. But the data and the collective insight into that small business subcontracting is sorely lacking as well. And that's an area that we have to work on before we need to be cautious in looking at root causes and in designing solutions. You may be aware the new executive branch subcontract reporting system could launch next quarter, and I'm hopeful that it will be an improvement over the current one. It has to be, although more may need to be done there. But while agencies often dictate subcontracting percentages to prime contractors, the prime contractor's choices of implementation are really part of its own technical solution that the agencies evaluate, and its business decision-making is outside the purview of the Federal agencies and the agency's senior executives. So I'm concerned about imposing requirements that either can't be effectively influenced or that, if they can be influenced, that influence risk politicizing the acquisition process. So I'd welcome the opportunity to discuss that with you further after this hearing. But subcontracts matter, and we have to find a better way of identifying the right data across all of the tiers of small businesses and making sure that we're capturing that data and holding both the agencies as well as the prime contractors accountable.
Thank you. And, Mr. Burton, maybe you want to weigh into, in 2010, $74 billion in subcontracted dollars went to small businesses, a substantial amount of money. What can we do to make sure that our agencies pay attention to this issue?
Well, I think what you're suggesting is that agencies comply with the current rules, and I think that is absolutely critical. We are going to see more dollars going through subcontracts than previously to small businesses because of the nature of things, because of the fact that the prime contract base is going to shrink, and more small businesses are going to be eager to get subcontracting opportunities, where the government's encouraging joint ventures, teaming. You're going to see more of this. And so therefore, I think it's absolutely imperative for agencies, SBA and OMB in particular, to start emphasizing compliance with the subcontracting goals. Not just meeting the prime contracting goals, but the subcontracting goals as well. There has been virtually no emphasis on meeting subcontracting goals, under the theory that small businesses would prefer to have prime contracts. But the reality is they also like to have subcontracts. And in this environment, it's critical for them to get subcontracts. I think, in short answer to your question, is that agency senior executives have to be held accountable for both achievement of prime contracting goals and subcontracting goals. Quite frankly, some senior folks in the government don't even know that there are subcontracting goals that they have to comply with. And so this is very important to have, from the top leadership down, emphasis on agencies meeting subcontracting goals.
Thank you. I have about a minute left. Does anyone else want to weigh in on this issue?
I'd like to make a quick comment about on subcontracting. You know, there's some obvious conflicts with regard to the process and the evaluation. It looks like, you know, even when we talked about the scorecard process, more emphasis is placed on the prime contracting than on the subcontracting. So if an agency, and what happens to an agency if they don't meet their subcontracting goals? We'll just not meet them again next year, perhaps. The other thing, too, though, is that with the more and more bundling and consolidation, there are fewer opportunities that are going to be had by small businesses to subcontract if more and more agencies are encouraged to use these contract vehicles. So we'd like to see more subcontracting. Businesses, small businesses want to make money. And it's the only way they're going to be able to grow and expand is that they get a contract, whether it's a subcontract or a prime. So more of that needs to be had, but the rules need to be strengthened to give them the opportunity to do so.
Thank you. My time has expired. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.